Good evening, this is BelGeode and we are back with some Microsoft Flight Simulator X Steam Edition. This is the Vietnam era. Now I'm doing this as a two-part series. The first part will feature the A-6 Intruder, and then in the second part we'll take a look at its brother, the A-6B. So we are on a mission to go to Hanoi and bomb the hell out of their airport and try to take out as many MiGs as we possibly can. So I'm starting everything up right now, and you'll forgive me if I don't go through like the whole startup sequence here. And I'm in just about every cockpit here, so you'll be seeing me a lot here. Alright, this particular aircraft was brought to us by Virtavia. I'll tell you how old this aircraft is as far as FSX goes. I had this thing back when Virtavia was known as Alpha Sim. That's a while back, folks. Same thing goes for the EA6B over there. That's also a Virtavia. And now, one of the good things about that, hold on, let me put the flaps down here. One of the good things about that is the fact that both of these aircraft are now available on Steam through, you know, FSX-SE. Okay, so like I said, the mission is we're going to be going to Hanoi, and the reason why we've got an EA6B Prowler with us is because back in the Vietnam era, Hanoi was basically SAM Central. You couldn't get in there without first having to jam all of their SAM sites. That was the purpose of the Prowler, and as you can see, he's going to be taking off first, which is actually my cue to go ahead and call Da Nang Tower. Let's do that real quick here. We're going to the north today. Da Nang Ground, Marine 509er, request taxi for takeoff, departure to the north.
Marine 509er, taxi to and hold short on runway 35 left in taxiway Whiskey 6, Whiskey 1. Contact tower 125.
Sounds good to me. Taxi 2 and hold short, runway 35 left using taxiway Whiskey 6, Whiskey 1, Marine 509er. Okay, as soon as he goes out of the picture here, it's time for us to move. So parking brake is in, and we are off. Now you will notice that this thing has a GPS. I'm pretty sure the real aircraft back in the Vietnam era did not have a GPS like this, but since we work with what we've got, we're going to use the GPS. So I actually programmed a flight plan over the Gulf of Tonkin that would get us into Hanoi by the most direct route. And we're pretty much going to stick to that for this entire flight here. Alright, so he's already on the taxiway, so we're just going to kind of give him a little bit of space here. And then we'll get started, and I'll start telling you the story of the A-6 Intruder. One thing I can tell you, this is a Grumman aircraft. The EA6B was actually built by both Grumman and Northrop. I'm thinking Northrop probably had a lot to do with the electronic warfare aspect of it, but Grumman, of course, was the manufacturer of these two birds. Alright, lining this sucker up in a thunderstorm is going to get interesting. The wind is all over the place. And just to remind you, my weather is provided by Active Sky Next. Best thing I ever got for this. It plays very nicely with the Rex cloud textures and whatnot. And boy, does it add a bit more realism to the winds aloft. Holy crap. Alright, we're just about in position. Right now, our Prowler buddy should be getting his clearance to take off. So as soon as he starts moseying onto the runway, I'm going to go ahead and call for our clearance. Okay, now's a good time, I would imagine. Oh, we got to wait for it to pop up. We're going to do a rolling takeoff this time. Da Nang Tower, Marine 509er, ready for north departure at runway 35 left.
Marine 509er, cleared for takeoff, runway 35 left, departure to the north approved.
Cleared for takeoff, runway 35 left, Marine 509er. Right here is good. Alright, so we'll wait for that ugly brown smoke of theirs. Any second now, he should be going brakes down, throttles up. There we go. Okay, and like I said, we're going to do a rolling takeoff, so I'm not going to waste any time. Since everything is pretty much good to go, I'm going to get us in position, and we're just going to head out there. We're going to try and stay relatively close to the Prowler on our way in, and then we're going to give him a bit of the lead since he's going to have to turn his music on and start jamming while we're making our way to the target area. Alright, everything looks good, and let's go. Hopefully the breeze won't blow me all over the damn place. I say that, but I think I know better by now. Yeah, keeping this thing on the center line is definitely a chore. Oh my god. It's a good thing this aircraft is very stable. Alright, VR, so let's go ahead and rotate. There we go. Gentle upward pressure. Love it. Alright, gear is going to come up now. Very good, very good. And let's go ahead and pull the flaps up. Also very good. And I cannot see the Prowler. He took off like a bat out of hell. Holy crap, catching him is going to be interesting. Alright, so that's it for Da Nang. We don't need to do anything else with them. We just need to turn on our autopilot and start heading in the direction that we want to go. Now, the reason why I'm using the autopilot on this, aside from the fact that, you know, it's pretty much true to life, it did have an autopilot back in the Vietnam era, is basically I want to look around a little bit here. So, you know, if I can lighten my own pilot workload, it will make for a little bit more scenic view rather than, you know, us always staring at the front panel here. And I've deliberately set up the flight plan to go over this hill that's in front of us here, because we're pretty much going to be staying here around 2,000 feet. So I want to have at least something good to look at as we head on out, and as I tell you the story of the A-6 Intruder. So where to begin? Well, first off, the Grumman A-6 Intruder was built and first flown on April 19th of 1960. It was introduced into service in 1963 and was basically the workhorse when it came to attack squadrons for both the United States Navy and the United States Marine Corps. Now, you may notice that on my tail, I've got Marine Corps here. So yes, this is actually a Marine aircraft, but of course it still has a tailhook, so we can still land on carriers, which is good because that's what we're going to be doing to come in today. Same for the A-6V. I actually chose a Marine squadron, which I'll get into that in a minute here. Alright, so yeah, this sucker was in service between 1963 to 1997. It actually replaced the Douglas A-1 Skyraider, which you've seen that one already because that was one of the first videos that I did here in this Vietnam era series. You can see the EA-6B in the inset there. He is like way ahead of us, so it's going to take us a while to catch up to him. Now, eventually, this thing was replaced by my favorite aircraft, the Grumman F-14 Tomcat, equipped with the Lantern pod. But as time went on, the squadrons actually rotated over to FA-18 usage. So the current squadron, the VMA, or actually it's VMFA 533, which is the Hawks, that's the plane that we're in right now. Those guys currently fly the FA-18 Hornet, so they transitioned from the Intruder to that. And I would say that is one hell of an upgrade. Wow. Alright, but anyway, continuing on. As you've no doubt noticed, this has a crew of 2, pilot and then the bombardier navigator. You'll notice I keep switching back and forth between their seats. Its length is 54 feet 7 inches, got a wingspan of 53 feet, and a height of about 15.7 feet. Or I guess that would be 15 feet 7 inches. That's another way of looking at it. It's powered by 2 Pratt & Whitney J52-P8B turbojets, giving out 9,300 pounds-feet each. So yeah, it's got some pretty decent thrust-to-weight ratio there going on. Even though it could never go supersonic, these engines were afterburning engines. They just weren't able to carry this thing past the speed of sound because of obvious reasons. Look at the design of the thing. You know, it's definitely not meant to, you know, go supersonic. but it did have a maximum speed of 563 knots and a range of about 2,819 nautical miles. Its service ceiling was 40,600 feet, so it could definitely get up there, and it can do that at the rate of 7,620 feet per minute. Alright, right about now you're going to see the Nimitz below us. At least I think it was the Nimitz that I used. Yeah, I think that's the case. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a Vietnam-era aircraft carrier just yet. Hopefully, I'll be getting one at some point in time, but so far, none has been available. So I opted instead to just use the regular Nimitz that you've seen before in my videos. So, when we come in and land, don't mind the F-18 Hornets. You know they weren't there during Vietnam, but you'll just have to play along. Now, as far as hardpoints and ordnance goes, and actually our A-6B should be going vertical pretty soon because we're getting close to North Vietnam, and he's going to go, there he goes, he's going to go to about 20,000 feet thereabouts and start jamming them for us. So, very good on him. Let's see if we can see him from the outside here. There's a smoke trail anyway. Where the hell is he? Oh, he's gone. He is gone. Wow. Okay, so yeah, we were talking about armament and so on. We have on this a total of 5 hardpoints, 4 wing and 1 fuselage, capable of loading up to about 18,000 pounds. And as you can see, we've got some Mark 82 dumb bombs on there, about 30 of these suckers. We're just going to be dropping them all on the airport. So it's kind of like we're doing carpet bombing, basically, which is something that also the B-52 did. But this was kind of like the workhorse for the Navy, so whenever they needed any kind of carpet bombing, they did that during the Vietnam War. Later models of this aircraft adopted more of a precision strike role, so they would end up dropping things like the AGM-88, the HARM anti-radiation missile, the Maverick missile, the AGM-65, and of course all the GBUs, the paveway laser-guided bombs. So yeah, it definitely had a lot of usage over its 30-plus year life. Very beautiful plane too. I actually got to see one of these suckers up close and impersonal way back in Fort Lauderdale when they had Fleet Week. There are many, many variants of this aircraft that were created as they tried to find different roles that they could put it in, the most famous of which is in the inset right now. That would be the A-6B Prowler. That was specifically designed to jam any SAM sites or, you know, enemy radar and stuff like that. And it, believe it or not, it was created just in time for the Vietnam War. So it did see limited service during the Vietnam War. Alright, we should be coming up close to the shore here. It looks like we've got about 47 nautical miles or 5 minutes until we reach the next waypoint. Now that waypoint, NAH, November Alpha Hotel, that is where our EA-6B is going to start orbiting and jamming. By the time he gets there, we should be just about ready to cross over the shoreline. Of course, we won't see him in this video, but I'll probably do it on the next video, since that'll be like the part 2. So we'll be watching it from his point of view, basically. Okay, I'm starting to see shallow water, and I think I am starting to see the coastline. So this is a very good thing. Now, back in Vietnam, when they did do missions like this is pretty much how they had to do it, which is absolutely amazing. Basically, they had to go almost to treetop level in order to get to their target zone and then pop up a little bit so that they could drop the bombs. Because obviously you don't want to drop your bombs really, really low, otherwise that'll ruin your day real quick. And of course the obvious danger is that when flying this low over hostile territory, not only do you have to contend with, you know, AAA fire and whatnot, but small arms fire could take you down as well. And they did lose a fair amount of aircraft during the Vietnam War to things like small arms fire and AAA. Overall, I would say there was a total of 84 intruders that were lost to all causes during the war in Vietnam. At least 10 of them were shot down by surface-to-air missiles, which it's a damn good thing we've got that EA-6B up there. But the majority of them were lost to conventional ground fire and AAA, as I stated. So what we're going to do in our little recreation of this attack run is when we get... Whoa! That was some close lightning there. Holy hell, I just lost my train of thought right there. Anyway, like I was saying, when we get closer to Hanoi, what we're going to do is we're going to start jinking to the left and to the right there. We're not going to take a straight and level path in. But it is assumed that this area, probably just small arms fire, and since they really don't know that we're coming, by the time they actually get out their AK-47s and point them up at us, we'll be going sayonara, or whatever goodbye is in Vietnamese. And if all goes according to plan, we should be in and out before they even know we've dropped our load. And no, that is not nearly as kinky as it might sound. Okay, so there's our waypoint NAH coming up, and then we've got a slight dog leg to the right. It can be basically assumed that that big huge circle that you see coming towards us, that would be the area where the SAMs are operating from. So right now we've got our Prowler above us, about 20,000 feet, and the music is on. So they're probably all scratching their heads like, why this no worky? Or whatever it is that they would say. That's just like so stereotypical. I'm sorry about that. Oh man. Can you tell it's been a long day? Alright, anyway, let's focus here. Focus, we've got a mission to do. And we are just about coming up on the waypoint. I believe it's just past this river here. So I'm going to let the autopilot do its thing. And then as soon as we pass this waypoint, I'm going to take it off autopilot. Then we'll start jinking all over the place here in order to avoid any small arms fire and or AAA or flak, so on and so forth. So this should be interesting. Oh, I did want to tell you a little bit more about the actual squadron whose aircraft we are representing today. The Hawks, as they were known, they were established back in October the 1st of 1943. They are still in service today. Of course, I explained earlier, they're now flying the FA-18. They flew this aircraft during the Vietnam War. Like as soon as they transitioned to the A-6 Intruder, they were deployed to Chu Lai Air Base, which, if you recall my video on the C-123, provider, that was where we were based out of. So yeah, these guys came from that airbase and racked up about 10,000 combat sorties over the years that they were deployed there, which would have been between 1967 and 1969. Now, they got into a lot of different fights, as I'm sure you're aware, and in one particular fight, they actually had such intense action that all 3 pilots involved were awarded the Navy Cross, which is like the Navy's highest award that they can give out. So yeah, these were some really brave guys that got inside these aircraft and flew them at almost treetop level to accomplish their mission. Absolutely crazy stuff. Okay, we are getting pretty close to our destination here. I'm looking to see if I can see the airport, but so far, no joy. This fog is starting to roll in, and of course the thunderstorm is not abating. I do notice there's no rain though. I see a lot of lightning, however, which I'm not too pleased about. Okay, we are inside the SAM zone from all appearances. So I sure as hell hope that my buddy up there don't run out of Duracells. Wow, look at all this lightning. Damn, this is like the most I've seen as far as lightning goes. We've got the autopilot off here, so I'm now on manual, so I'm going to stop telling the story of this aircraft, and I'm going to concentrate on getting my mission done here. And you have seen this aircraft, quite possibly, if you have watched the movie Flight of the Intruder. It says it right there in the name. That is the aircraft that they were talking about in there. And I think at this point in time, our cast of characters would probably be singing amongst themselves, downtown, da-da-da-da-da-da. I don't remember the lyrics to it, so don't hurt me here. Okay, let's see. Terrain is a little bit spotty, but I think that's probably because I've got the weather set to the way it is. One thing I will say about this Orbix scenery that I'm using, it's kind of hit or miss. Sometimes it loads up in seconds, other times it takes 5 years to load up. But it's a good thing we're kind of weaving patterns across North Vietnam here, because that'll give the scenery a chance to load up, and by the time I get to that airport, everything should be copacetic. That is my hope anyway. So we're going to be passing Victor Victor Bravo Alpha on our way to Victor Victor November Bravo, which is Hanoi International, or at least it's now known as Hanoi International. I don't know if that's what it was called back in the Vietnam War. I could research that, but we'll pass on that. By the time it takes me to look that up, we'll already have bombed the place. And if I do remember correctly, they did, the creators of this little download that I'm using, they did set a bunch of MiGs down there. I want to say that they are like MiG-15s, maybe MiG-19s. I'm not 100% sure. I think they're MiG-15s actually. So yeah, we're going to be bombing the hell out of them because they've been harassing us and we don't like it. We're going to take them down and out. Got about 3 minutes to target, so I'm going to continue jinking left and right here. My goal is to at least get the airport showing up on the aircraft GPS, which is the one that you're looking at dead center of the screen here. So that way I can stop using the little GPS on the side. And it looks like we're just now getting within range here, so it should start popping up. As soon as that happens, I will switch back to pilot view, and I should be able to see it from pilot view actually, so that should be fine. In the meantime, we'll keep weaving across the sky here, because right about now there's a bunch of really pissed off NVA regulars down there, and they're like, what in the hell are those Yankees doing? Jeez. And one thing I will say about this aircraft, Vietnam, of course, was not the only place that it flew. It has flown in places like Lebanon. It's flown in the Gulf War. It has flown pretty much all over the world. Desert Storm, yeah, that was one of the engagements that we saw A-6s. Marine Corps flew 4,700 combat sorties in Desert Storm with this aircraft. Amazing feat. But then you can always count on the Marine Corps to get the job done. Alright, I'm still not seeing it here. Let's see. Yeah, I got no joy on this airport. This is gonna suck if I can't find this damn thing. Gotta be around here somewhere. And normally we wouldn't pop up that high. We would try to stay around 1,000 feet or maybe lower, because any higher than that and their radars can start tagging you. And if you're really close, it doesn't matter what kind of jamming's being done, they will still hit you. They can just shoot the missile and it'll home in on you anyway. So we're going to try to avoid that. I do now have the airport on the left side of the little GPS that's built into the dashboard there. So that is what I was looking for. The runway is going apparently east to west. So that is exactly what we're going to do, because most likely their flight line is lined up that way. Alright, they are way off to our left. Still can't see them. Damn it. Gotta be close though. Alright, I don't want to fly straight for too long here, but I do need to pop up a little bit, and I do need to turn to the left, so let's go ahead and do that real quick here. Should be showing up off to the left there. This fog is what's killing me though. This is horrendous. And of course, this is the kind of conditions that they would have to fly in. This was an all-weather attack plane, so didn't matter, rain or shine, these guys were going airborne. Luckily, Grumman did a stupendous job when it came to making such a stable platform for them to fly in. I mean, you could pretty much put this thing through its paces and it'd still be like, okay, is that all you got? Let's see. It should be directly ahead. I might have to go to an outside view here to see if I can see it, because even though I've got really great visibility through this canopy, I'll be damned if I can find this airport. Okay, we are closing in on 3,000. That is no go. I need to come down pretty soon here. Okay, it's off to the left here, so let's go ahead and do a sharp turn and we'll go outside. Aha! There it is. There it is. Okay, directly ahead and below us. Perfect. Alright, now that I am in the oddest angle ever, I'm going to get to our bombing altitude. Now we're going to do dive toss bombing. You won't actually see that, but through the magic of editing, I'm going to make it happen. Okay, flight line should be directly ahead. Yep, there it is. I have tally on all the MiGs. So we're going to overfly them and gently fly out. Bombs away. Holy hell, that is the grandmother of all boom flowers. I love it. And I don't intend to stick around long enough to do any BDA or bomb damage assessment. We are getting the hell out of here. They can send the spy planes in for that. That is not my job. I've dropped my load and I'm good to go. See ya. Enjoy. Thanks for playing, as always. Alright, we are out of here. So that gives you a basic idea of what the A-6 Intruder had to do back in Vietnam. Now, later on, of course, since they did the precision strikes, they really didn't have to go through all of that rigmarole. They could actually drop from safer altitudes. But you gotta admit, the guys that flew these missions, even though some of them never came back, and obviously a few of them ended up being POWs or MIAs, I gotta hand it to these guys. That takes guts to do something like that. Wow. Alright, well we are now safely up and out of the area. Our buddy should still be jamming, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring us up to about 21,000 feet. And I'm going to switch around our GPS to head back to the NAH waypoint, where we're going to rendezvous with the Prowler and make our way back to that carrier that we saw on the way in the Nimitz. Now, as far as the Nimitz's game plan, right now it's still pointing to the north, but it's going to be turning around a full 180 degrees so that it can accommodate us coming back in. At this point, it's probably not even going to matter which direction the wind is blowing, because either way, we're still coming in. Alright, now where is my buddy? I don't know if he is this close or not. Well, we're still not even at 21,000 yet. We're just barely close to 17,000. Now, take a look at my altimeter, which is smack dab in the center of the screen to the right of my little radar windshield wiper thing here. I'm going to switch it from 28.7 to 29.92, which is what it should be above 18,000. Look at that! Just like that, we just instantly gained 1,000 feet. What a huge difference in barometric pressure. That is just nuts. Alright, but this is where we want to be, so let me see if I can locate our buddy. Well, we got a beautiful sunset. I hope that counts for something, but I have no idea where this Prowler is. Okay, well, one thing we do need to do is we need to get the autopilot back on. So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set up NAH. So we want menu and then activate. So when I put the autopilot on right about now, it should start guiding us to the correct location. Alright, let's see. Are you going to do your thing or what? Why are you going to the right? There we go. That's the correct direction. Okay, so that's going to take us back to NAH, and we should still see the Prowler flying around there. We're just going to keep heading south. I'm pretty sure he will sight us because we've got this ugly brown smoke coming out the back, so you should be able to see that and line up on us. We're probably going to do like a somewhat of a trail formation on the way back home, and when we get to within about, let's say about 30 miles of the carrier, we'll bring it down from 21,000 to about 2,000 feet. So there's our ugly smoke, marring such a beautiful sunset. Hope you had fun, North Vietnam, because I sure as hell did, dropping 30 bombs on your head. Look at that beautiful silhouette. Oh, gotta tell you folks, this is one of the sexiest attack planes in the history of United States Navy. Really love this aircraft. And the fact that it was side-by-side seating, that's like almost unheard of. And look at that. We've got our buddy back. Looks like he's playing catch-up, but he is definitely there. So now we can safely head home. I'm pretty sure he's getting ready to turn that music off as soon as we get past the coastline, and it's just going to be a beeline for the carrier with no stops in between. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, one of the saddest things about this aircraft, as well as other aircraft of this aircraft generation, this thing could have had a hell of a lot longer service life had they done the plans that they originally wanted. The same thing happened with like the Tomcat and whatnot. Later on in the life of the aircraft, they began to use it in a fuel tanker capacity. So the same role that was eventually filled by the S3 Viking, and of course is now being held by the FA-18 Hornet, they would do like buddy tanking with this thing. So if you can imagine on the two pylons there, they would have like the extra fuel tanks with the drogues so that all them thirsty Tomcats and whatnot could just slide up behind and grab some gas. But they actually had plans to seriously upgrade this sucker. They had planned on making the A-6F and even the A-6G. The A-6F was supposed to have like completely updated avionics, state-of-the-art stuff, and was even going to have the capability of utilizing the AIM-120 AMRAAM missile, which, if you know, that's a medium-range missile. That's a pretty hefty missile there. But just like everything else around the beginning of the 90s, the program got canceled. So then they decided they wanted to do a cheaper alternative with the A6G. Now the difference between the two, the A6F would have had better engines. It would have replaced the Pratt & Whitney engines with the General Electric F404 turbofans, which incidentally, that's the same engine that the FA-18 Hornet uses. But when they deemed that too expensive and nixed it, they decided to go with the A6G, which would have kept the same engines, but given it the new electronics and avionics. Of course, not surprisingly, that got canceled as well. So it's typical through the history of the Navy and Marine Corps in the later parts of the 20th century. You have all these really great aircraft, which, as far as I'm concerned, this is part of my dream cruise, is having this aircraft along with others like the Tomcat and the Hornet and whatnot, all on the same aircraft carrier. That's like my dream aircraft carrier right there. But it'll never see the light of day. And the most ironic part about this, it was officially scrapped. The A6 was officially scrapped in favor of the A12 Avenger II, which was a plan that the Navy had to create like this state-of-the-art, almost stealthy kind of attack aircraft that never even made it off the drawing board. So they canceled this for something that won't ever exist. And I've got the speed brakes out right now because I want to get our little Prowler dude up in front of us here. We're going to have him take the lead on the way in. We're going to be landing first. He'll be landing after, but I kind of want to keep him there because we really haven't seen him for much of the video. Even though he's going to get his own separate video coming up. That'll be the part 2 to this particular video. And if you've been paying close attention to what's been going on inside the cockpit, you now know that we are getting close to our position where we're going to want to come down from 21,000 feet to about 2,000. So let me just see if I can line this up properly here. You'll notice the clouds start making an appearance. That's an FSX thing. It's just so weird. Alright, we are beginning our descent. I should probably put us into idle here. So let me do that real quick here. Now I did set the Nimitz to do that 180-degree turnaround, so hopefully by the time we get there it should be done with that and should be steaming along towards the south to take us back to South Vietnam. Hey, look it, there's us in the inset. Oh, that's pretty cool. Well, we're pretty much just going to hit the deck here. We're going to bring it down to, like I said, about 2,000. Hopefully that should be below the ceiling, so I might actually be able to see the carrier. I almost think I can see it now. Oh, spoke too soon. We got fog. Lovely. I do have the carrier frequency tuned in, which, just to remind you, is 112.00. So that's in my nav 1. However, since this thing does lack a HUD, I don't have a way of actually tracking it there. I suppose if I wanted to, I could probably use the needles and, you know, try to get everything lined up, or use the ADF and see if I can find it that way. However, that don't work. Okay, we should be getting pretty close to our target altitude. Right now we're about 3,000. That's one thing I will say about this plane. I do like Virtavia stuff. This one is heavy on the pretty, but light on the actual substance. There's not much to it. Even though it's got all these nifty little knobs and whatnot, none of them do a damn thing. The radar that keeps doing its windshield wiper thing, it doesn't do a damn thing. And of course the big radar on the right side, same story. That would be the one, the circular one, smack dab in the center there. Alright, but there's our Prowler in front of us, and holy crap, we are going to get struck by lightning. The carrier should be right below us because we left it around this waypoint. So I'm going to take a quick look. Hey, look at that. There it is. Holy crap, what kind of path has this thing been leaving? Damn. Okay, well, at least it's heading the direction we're going, so we're going to do our carrier brake in a moment here. It looks like our Prowler's already slowing its descent. And we're going to swing out to the right a little bit before we make that left turn. This thing was very stable, but it was not very maneuverable. So actually getting this thing to do a full 180-degree turn is going to take a lot of real estate. Where the hell is that Prowler? Is it still in front of us? Okay, it's making a turn, so I'm going to do that too. Holy crap, don't get struck by lightning, buddy. That would be bad. That would be real bad. Alright, back in the cockpit I go. Okay, I'm probably going to get rid of the inset. You will see the landing for the A-6B in the next video, so we'll bypass all of his maneuvers in a moment here. I, however, want to make sure I get pointed the right direction. Since I know the carrier is steaming to the south, I'm going to turn us to the north. Where is that carrier? There it is. Oh, hell, we went all the way down here. Jeez. A little bit further away from the carrier than I would have liked. Usually if you do a carrier brake, it's really not that far ahead that you gotta go. But be that as it may, like I said, this thing turns like a school bus, so I'm gonna point us to the north here. Alright, we are right about there, so I'm gonna go ahead and level us off. Looks like Prowler's already leveled off and heading to the north, and you can see the carrier off to the left side. Whoa, we are ballooning up here. Alright, I'm going to need to adjust this. I'm going to take it off of the autopilot. Okay, we're about to pass the carrier, so as is customary, we're going to drop the tail hook. And we are abeam the carrier and the LSO deck. Okay, flaps coming down too. At least one notch of flaps. We'll put the second notch down after we get the gear down. So as soon as this guy goes off of my screen, I am going to go ahead and put the gear down and begin our turn in towards the carrier. We're going to make like an exaggerated turn here. Alright, looking good. Speed looking good. Gear coming down. I'm going to keep it around a little over 150, thereabouts. This thing does have an AOA indexer, but it's just so kind of weird. I think it's probably because of the angle that I'm sitting in the cockpit here. So I'm going to have to eyeball this. I'm not really going to rely on the AOA indexer for this inbound. And believe it or not, that's pretty much going to be it for me. So as I get ready to do this final approach in this cloudy sky, stormy weather, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye from now. So as always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, feel free to give me a like. There will be a part 2 coming where we will see from the A-6B's point of view. So you can probably expect that like next week or so. Provided, of course, I have enough time. Okay, we're almost getting ready to turn here. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. That way you'll get notifications as to when I put all of my videos online. And we've got a lot of stuff coming, folks. A lot of stuff coming. I've been basically piling on the videos, so you'll be seeing a lot of stuff over the next few weeks here. Alright, carrier, where are you? There you are. Okay. That's one thing I'm grateful for. This thing's got a lot of visibility, at least forward visibility. You can't much see what's going on behind you, however. But this looks like a good lineup, so I've got the second notch of flaps come down. And even though it's giving me the wave off signal, we're still gonna do this. I seem to be a little bit high, so I'm gonna try and pull her down, and we are coming in somewhat fast. I don't want to use the speed brake, so I'm just gonna keep us at idle here. Yeah, we are a little high up. We should be around 400 feet, where it's 500 there. Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, now we've got some wind problems here, so I'm going to need to give it some power and pull up a bit. Alrighty, folks, if I live through this, I'll see you on the next one. Ciao! Woo! Made it! Alrighty, folks, I'm really gone this time. Ciao!